I'm sitting at the bar. Guy sits next to me, starts talking, and he starts asking me questions and everything. And he looks kind of, he's kind of attractive, and I'm starting to get interested because I'm like, okay. He asked me how old I am, and we said he's 50, and I'm like, my dad just told me recently, like, I think you need an older man, like you need someone your age or older. Stop dating these young boys. I was like, Dad, you know what? You're right. So when he said he was 52 years old, I was like, okay. Then he told me, then I was like, okay. And then, we get to talk, and then he asked me, was I single? Now, by this time, we done talking. I'm on my third vodka and pineapple. Wow. So we talking.
She loose.
I ain't that loose. So I was happy. So we talking, and he asked me, was I single? And I was like, very much so. And then he was like, so then I was like, are you single? He was like, no.
Yeah, no.
I said, so why are we having this conversation? He was like, well, you should just give me your number. I said, my life is completely carefree. I have no kids. I create my own schedule. I don't have no pets. Why the fuck would I add that drama to my life? Please, and I asked him that. Seriously, please make that make sense to me. Why would I add that drama to my life?
When people say things like that, it makes me be like, oh, so you think that I'm stupid, I'm gullible, I'm naive, and I have low self-esteem, that's the type of situation that I would want to be in. You think that this is the best? This is the best that I can do?
He's like, how did I miss you? Like, you from...
Because, bro, you're married. That's how you miss me. You got a wife. You got a whole thing going on. You made that up. I'm not dealing with it.
But why would you waste somebody like me? One of the things...
It wasn't a waste of time because guess what you did?
I exited right. Exited left. As soon as I ain't even entertaining no more. Like, I literally, after he said that, the conversation literally went dead. Like, after I said my little piece, I'm like, why would I add that drama to my life? Like,
why would I entertain that? Like, that makes no sense. No, he didn't.
He had my attention. Right.
For 2 seconds until...
But
she asked the right questions.
But had she said, oh, okay.
Yeah, but she asked the right questions. I feel like if you don't ask the right
And
questions...
that's what I'm learning in this dating experience, is that you have to ask the right questions in the beginning. One of the other questions that you have to ask is anybody going to be hurt if me and you start dating? If anybody... Because a lot of people... sometimes have broken up recently or something like that, or going through a breakup, and one person in a relationship might be completely
out of it,
over it. Like my 6-year relationship, I probably was over it a year before it actually ended. So I was already emotionally
checked out.
But my partner, he was not. He was still trying he was still actively trying to get us back together. So if he would have seen me out with somebody,
he would have been hurt.
He would have been hurt. He would have been devastated.
But is it your... But the real question is that your fault?
No, but I still think that's a question that you need to ask someone, because everybody needs to know. Like, I can speak about it because recently I experienced it. And I kind of like didn't experience dealing with somebody that was going through a heartbreak, that was only recently out of their relationship, probably a year. And they say it takes half the time to like get over that person. So I feel like it might not be, it's whose fault is it, but I think that's still a conversation that you need to have and you need to be aware of. Like, if you're fresh out of a relationship, I might not want to take what we have too serious. I need you to be completely honest with me. Are you out of this completely emotionally, or are you still dealing with heartbreak? Are you still emotionally connected to this person? Be honest about it. And you have to ask yourself that question. I feel like the person needs to ask themselves that question, and you need to ask that person when they're how long was your last relationship? I don't even need to know the details about it, but I need to know how long was your last relationship? Have you healed from that? Is that person still actively pursuing you? Where are y'all standing? Because I had to look at it like, yo, when I found out the true answer, I looked at it like, because that person was like, I was planning to cut everybody off if that person wanted me back. And that hurt my feelings. But then I looked at it, I was like, yo, the fuck, that makes sense. You only been out of this relationship for a year. You never wanted this relationship to end in the first place. It ended because of some fuck shit, but like you never wanted this relationship to end in the first place. So of course, if this person comes back and says, I want to be with you, you gonna cut everybody off. So it's like when we can be honest with each other in those beginning stages of talking and dating, I feel like it gives room for compassion, understanding, and also allowing you to choose whether this is something you actually want to pursue.
But what happens when someone takes the choice away from you? What happens when people omit certain things in order?
That happens. That happens.
So then when that happens and then the other shoe drops and then they say to you, well, this is what it really is. And I feel like sometimes...
But I feel like there's always signs. Because I felt the same way. I felt like, damn, you could have told me this in the beginning. But then I started looking back over the time that we spent together. There were signs. There was a time when he sat and he talked all about that relationship. That was a sign. There were signs. There were things that were said to me. But
it's
because
not necessarily a sign.
It's paying attention to
it
a
is,
person.
but every time, like if you were in a long relationship with somebody, you still might have those feelings, but it's not necessarily that you want them, but it's just y'all had so much time
it's
together.
It's a comfortability.
Yeah. So like I was in a relationship I know this chick for 20 years. We was in a relationship since 7th grade until college. Like, you know what I mean? So we've been through it, ups and downs, you know what I mean, everything. But when I got out of that relationship, it was like I didn't want her no more, but it was comfortable, you know what I mean, that I had.
Right.
But I would talk about it with my relationship. I was like, look, this is things that we used to do together, and you know, my girl was like, oh, no, you're not talking about what y'all did. You know, we're talking about. I'm like, just let you know I've done this. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want her, but we did this. I used to do this. I like doing this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So get familiar. You know what I mean? But
one time this person had told me like, you feel like home. And then I found out that their person shared the same zodiac sign as me. And then it clicked in my head like, this is why it was so easy for you
to fall into it.
Yeah, for him to connect with me and be with me because there was some type of familiarity.
It was a comfort that he felt that you had that he had previously.
Right. Because sometimes people think they're the only people
that went through some things.
Right. And it kind of gives you a little bit of comfort when you know
somebody else can resonate with them.
Right. So this is the ratchet part of the show. Just do